Oh yeah, I'm pumped. You done? All right. Did your car unlock?
Yeah.
What's up guys, it's Nick True here, and today I'm with my buddy Pete. He runs a website called Do You Even Blog. Pete is kind of doing some interesting stuff right now with his finances. Him and his wife have kind of taken a step back from some of their guaranteed income to try and pursue some dreams. And life looks very different for Pete and his family and his two kids right now. So I'm gonna let him talk, but I mostly just wanna hear his story, and you guys hear from me all the time about how we budget and how we do our stuff. But I wanna hear from Pete and kind of give you another perspective on what it might look like to be pursuing your dream while also still, you know, having to deal with all this finance stuff. So with that, Pete, before we get going,
Yeah.
what do you want to say about yourself? You want to give us a little intro?
Yeah, let me preface everything you just said with the fact that I am not like one of the people that made up a bunch of money or saved like a bunch of money and then specifically like quit their job to like pursue their dream full time. I actually happened into this on accident. So I was kind of forced into this situation. So the backstory would be, I was an accountant, I was a CPA. I did want to get out of that, but we didn't have a whole lot of money saved up. We had a little bit. And we made good income, and we were good about budgeting while we were making money and stuff like that, so that wasn't a problem. I took a startup job that was going to allow me to blog more, because that's what I wanted to do, and still get a salary. So I was going to be working for them, like 30 hours-ish a week. I was going to be able to spend a little bit more time starting an online business or blogging or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is great. It was like perfect. And then lo and behold, 3 weeks later, after my first paycheck, I got laid off. Like, startup didn't have any money.
I don't think I realized that.
No, I haven't shared the story very much. So that was 14 months ago. In my hometown of Rome, Georgia. And God bless them, like it was a cool idea. It was a cool startup, but I didn't have any money. And I didn't really know that before I came on board. Yes, bad decision, a little bit of unfortunate luck on my part. But then I had this decision to like make. My wife and I are like, okay, we could move back to a big city where it would be very easy for me to find a job. Or we could try this other lifestyle out, which we had never done before. We were scared to death by. So we tried it. We tried going full-time entrepreneurship in my case, and my wife teaches part-time piano and voice lessons. And we were like, we have no idea how this is going to go. We have no idea. We had sold our house, and that combined with a nice like emergency fund. So we had like $20,000, $25,000 just kind of sitting there that we didn't really have a purpose for. It wasn't.
So, but that's important though, because like, if you hadn't had that, then the decision to even try this new lifestyle,
it would not have worked at all. So that wasn't specifically for saving. It was a little bit of emergency fund, but it was also like, okay, we're not going to be sure what we're going to be doing with this money yet. And so when this opportunity came up, or unfortunate events, however you want to look at it, we were like, okay, we could use this as a backup just to like see if this works, see how much money we can create for ourselves. And so you're talking about budgeting. I'm a terrible person to answer this right now because my wife and I don't do any budgeting because it's like, we can't spend money.
It's just, the budget is don't spend anything.
The budget's like, we have no money to spend, so we don't spend it. Mainly what we had to do right away was just an audit of our lifestyle. Starting with the most important thing that I think most people royally screw up on, and that is subscriptions. Netflix, Hulu, all of the other entertainment subscriptions, everything that hits you monthly can add up super quick, and it's super dangerous because 12 months later you might not even realize that you're still paying for anything if you don't go in and look at your budget like line item. So we did a huge audit, and we cut out as much as possible, like from anything that was like recurring, any of that stuff, cable, just nothing.
So anything that could be a monthly expense.
That's right.
You looked at it and said,
everything. Cut out as much as possible. The two things that we absolutely don't cut any corners on are food, because we eat pretty healthy. We cook most of our meals at home. Like we don't eat out hardly at all. Every now and then with my family, and we have straight up told them now, Mom and Dad, we would love to come out to eat with you, but you have to pay.
Like it's not in the budget right now.
We just can't. And
I think that's important though, because like one of the things that a lot of people have a hard time with is when they want to go out with friends or family, like they have a hard time telling them no in like a way that doesn't seem ridiculous.
That's absolutely right.
But at some point you just have to look at them and say, look, our goals right now that we're trying to hit in order to live a certain way and raise our kids in a certain way, like we just have to make the decision that we can't spend the money doing that right now.
That's right. And it got a heck of a lot easier when we were forced to. When that happened, it was literally like do or die, and there was absolutely no more hesitation for me or my wife. We were like, we can't do it.
Yeah, just now.
Retire. Cool. Friends asked us to go out and be like, why don't you guys come over here? We'll make dinner even. Like, that's so much more affordable for us.
Right.
Yeah, we went into that really quick. So first, we had a little bit of money.
Yep.
For anybody out there in entrepreneur land who wants to quit their full-time job, that's what I help people try and do now by building up some sort of like recurring income. It could be blog, it could be YouTube, it could be whatever. But you cannot do it just on a whim.
Yeah, you can't do it with like, I'm just gonna get some credit cards and then like cross my fingers and hope that I'll bring in income. I mean, you can, but
it's not a smart decision.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. So you and your wife, although you did, you found yourself in this position where you were laid off, you were able to build up an emergency fund.
Yeah.
During the time where you had solid income.
Yes.
Now, for a little while, you've been basically doing freelance work and trying to build your business that's going to eventually support you.
Yeah.
So people say you're telling me that you basically can't spend any money, but how are you living right now? I mean, how are you making it through, right? Because like you're not living on the street.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah. We found ways to make money.
Okay.
That's the only way to say it. We are not thriving and saving 30, 40, 50, 60% of our income like a bunch of other people in the personal finance and FIRE communities. We're not doing any of that.
Okay.
We're not even, like, I'm paying down my student loan debt in like the minimum amounts of payments.
Okay.
I still have student loans. It is the minimum amount I can get by with.
Got it.
We figured out ways to make money. Very small amounts of money, like $300, $400 here and there for like my first couple of marketing clients, and then like every now and then I'll have a big win and get like $3,000 to $5,000 and like this one little gig that'll last us quite a while now that we've like settled in this lifestyle. So what we found is we are not saving a whole lot. We're not putting a whole lot towards retirement right now.
Okay.
In the hopes that, honestly, I will either make a lot of money being an entrepreneur,
right,
some sort of fashion, or I have to go back, or she has to go back to a full-time job with salaries and benefits that makes enough money so we can contribute to retirement. So it's risk. It's still a gamble. When we talk about burning boats or burning bridges or whatnot, we had to find ways to make money. And we've been very fortunate to be able to find some freelancing stuff, some client stuff. I've made a little bit of money from the blog. I've made a little bit of money from like freelancing and stuff like that, where we are perfectly getting by. We are not stressed for the most part on feeding our children or paying some bills.
And and you're scraping by, you're not doing a lot of fun stuff, you're not putting a lot back for savings,
That's right.
and you're paying the minimum on your debt. Let me ask you this, because one of the things I talk a lot about on my channel is like kind of the emotional side of money, and I have two questions related to that. Number one, how are you and your wife like dealing with not comparing yourself to either the people around you, or in your case, comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs that you see who are doing well and are making tons of money and have had success, and maybe they've even done it, shorter or quicker than you've been at this. And then the second question is, how are you doing comparing yourself to how you were able to live when you did have your full-time income? Because, it's one thing for somebody to start from the bottom and then kind of work their way up. It's another thing to find yourself at a level and then have to take a step back.
Make money and then take back,
And so I'd love to hear, like, how are you comparing yourself to others, and then how are you comparing yourself to your old self?
I have two answers. I think that was like two questions.
Yeah, two questions.
It's kind of simple.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the making money, the not making money part first.
Yes.
So I was very fortunate enough to make enough money at my accounting job, and my wife also made money while we were living in Atlanta, where I got to the point where I wasn't caring about it anymore. Like we were doing some budgeting, and we were saving plenty, and we were contributing towards retirement, and we had more than enough at the end of each month. We started not caring about money. It was starting to become like what people say it should be, like, oh, money is a tool.
Right.
People say that. It was starting to become like that. It was great.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life was miserable for me because I was not happy in that full-time job.
Got it.
And so for me, when I wanted to go to the startup, when I wanted to blog more, that sort of stuff, it was, I don't care about money. I don't care about money. I'll figure out a way to make money or whatever. I don't care about it. I'm miserable in my job. So on that respect, it has not hit me negatively at all. Just on that respect. I'm going to reveal something else here in a second. But just on that respect, I don't care. That said, on the other front, especially being someone who routinely speaks with online business folk who make a lot of money and some that did it really, really quickly.
Yeah.
I struggle. I struggle with jealousy, hardcore. I do, and I've even mentioned this on my podcast a few times. So this is like a huge revelation, but I do. I just see other people out there, and for the most part, it's impatience.
Okay.
I'm super impatient for success, whatever that word means. And even sometimes when it's not even defined in my head, which is like the stupidest thing. Like I'm jealous of this other person. Why? At the end of the day, like why? But it still hits me.
Yeah.
Like our mutual friend Bobby from millennialmoney.com.
Yeah, he's killing it.
He made $155,000 last month from product launch and his blog, and he's just
which is just insane.
He's doing great.
Insane. Yeah.
He's doing great. But I even told him this. I was like, there's jealousy there on my end because he's a friend of mine. I think of him as an equal and a peer because we're just friends, like we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no answers. I wish I had a great advice or answer.
That's okay. I mean, that's kind of part of what I try and do on my channel is like I'm afraid that so many people feel like they're alone and feel like they don't have anybody else to identify with. And so one of the things that I like to do and talk about is like, hey, we all struggle with these things. Yeah. And that's kind of my hope and big goal for bringing you on the show is like you to be able to say like, look, you know, I am doing some things that probably people watching right now would like to be able to do, you know? But even you, like you really struggle with that, and I do too. Totally. I really do too.
I do have to remember that every now and then when I start to get jealous of other people who make more money or just jealous of things. I lose track of the fact that I am self-employed. I don't have a boss, and a bunch of people crave that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I have clients, so I do have bosses, but it's not like a job boss. And I'm not locked into any specific target of the United States, city or whatnot. I'm not location specific. Man, it's funny how quickly you start to take those things for granted once you actually blog full time.
I think maybe you're hitting on the answer here, which is that like it ultimately comes back to gratitude, right? Like there's just so many other things that you can be grateful for. That like when we can always find somebody to compare ourselves to that's going to be further along in where we want to go than we are. But there's also, if I sit here and think about it, there's a million people that I can point to right now, and not in a bad way, but just look at it and go like, I'm further along than they are in the direction that I'm trying to go, whatever that looks like. Yeah. And like being grateful for where you're at. Yeah. I think you're hitting on it.
Yeah. It's easy to lose focus sometimes. Yeah. It's easy to forget that.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up right there. Pete, it was so great talking to you. If you are interested in blogging or you're interested in starting a podcast, if you're interested in basically doing anything in the online world, like what I do, then you should check out DYEBblog.com. You should check out the Do You Even Blog. You should check out the podcast. The podcast is really where it's at. So check out the Do You Even Blog podcast. Pete is awesome. He's killing it. He's doing a great job. So check him out if you're interested in those kinds of things. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.